folks, and welcome back here to Gatekeeper Media as we bring you the conclusion of the 2022 Portland Open. Yes, after 3 rounds out here on our final stop of the West Coast swing, we now get to our final round out at Glendoveer, and we're bringing you the chase card to see who can finish at the top of the leaderboard. We thank you all for tuning in, and I'd like to give a special thank you to our Patreon supporters who help make this coverage all possible. Once again, I am Dustin Mouret, and I'll be bringing you the commentary to wrap things up here out in Portland, and looking forward to see how our chase card's going to handle things. As you can see, Joel Freeman right now in 5th position with Cole Redalen, Adam Hammis, and Gannon Buhr right in behind at 6th, 7th, and 8th. And if you take a look at the overall leaderboard, you can see Simon Lizotte topping the charts by a pretty good little margin over our chase card. You know, he is 6 strokes ahead of Joel Freeman at the top of things, so a little bit of room that our players are going to have to gain. So, of course, we get to Joel Freeman playing for Innova, known for putting, I guess now the 0 after having putted some others in the past. Also known for his Gators and Chariot. Also very well known for his distance drivers as well. I'm sure we'll see a lot of those out here. Of course, we got Cole Redalen back in the mix here, putting the Lunas now once more. A lot of disc crash stuff in his bag as he plays for Infinite Disc, so open bag, but also throws a lot of Emperors to get some big distance as well. Then we get to Adam Hammis, of course, playing for Discraft, likes to putt the Focus and throw the Breaker as well as the Zones. Also known for his Raptors, his Onyx, and his Forces are probably the most popular disc he throws, but maybe some nukes for some big distance at times. And then we get to Gannon Buhr, of course, from Prodigy, putting the PA3, known for various D-Series discs, including his signature D1, but also can throw the Falcor and some FX2s and a few other molds as well to boot. We're going to kick things off here on hole number 1, a 670-foot par 4. There is a Mando off the tee. Usually you're going to see a big Anheuser backhand or forehand. Need to get about 350 feet and just get past the OB green in the hazard to set up your approach.
Us first on the tee, representing Disc Golf Threads, sponsored by Innova Champion Discs. Out of Loveland, Colorado, make some noise for Joel Freeman!
I mean, not the same flashy suit, but still the same flashy announcing there, as Joel Freeman will be the first one to act. Currently ranked pretty highly in the U-Disc World rankings. Had a 3rd place finish at Waco, 4th at Texas State, 6th at Jonesboro. Also 14th at Champions Cup, our first major of the year, so definitely very near the top end of the charts. Going for that big Anheuser backhands right through the main gap. Getting some big fade at the end near the OB, but we'll stay in.
That was so scary.
That's well done. As he says, it was scary.
He'd like to give a shout out to Oregon Sports and Family Chiropractic for keeping his body correct this whole weekend in his career. Sponsored by Infinite Discs out of Hillsboro, Oregon. Give it up for Cole Redalen!
And that's right, Cole Redalen rejoining us after being on the chase card yesterday at only 17 years old, just getting his career started. Very strong player. Made some noise last year with the 7th place finish at Ledgestone. This year he had a 15th place finish at Belton. Was within the top 30 at the Las Vegas Challenge in Waco, so definitely a very strong player who's just really getting started. He goes for the big Anheuser as well. We saw yesterday he's got plenty of backhand distance on him for this course. And that is way down there, but unfortunately left OB.
That tailwind held it. Yeah, my tailwind just holding it.
Up next on the box, he was your 2021 Maple Hill champion, sponsored by Discraft, out of Minocqua, Wisconsin. Give it up for Adam Hammis!
Man, Adam Hammis coming in 12th in the U-Disc World rankings. This year had a 7th at Las Vegas Challenge, 15th at Belton and Masters Cup, and top 25 at Jonesboro. As the announcer said, he made a lot of noise when he won the MVP Open at Maple Hill, but also won the Redistance Disc Open and had a lot of other top 5 finishes last year, as well as many top 10s on tour, so very strong. And he has a mean forehand, so not surprised to see him using it here off the tee just to get placement. As you can see, it lands well past that OB green and bunker.
And last on the box for your chase card, your reigning 2022 Masters Cup champion, sponsored by Prodigy, out of Urbandale, Iowa. Let's make some noise for Gannon
Another young gun here on the chase card at only 17 years old, 7th in the UDisc World Rankings. And indeed, he is fresh off that win at Masters Cup as well as a top 10 at the OTB Open. Of course, he started the year 2nd at Las Vegas Challenge after that big playoff against Drew Gibson. He was also 5th at Champions Cup and Jonesboro. He's a 2-time junior world champion and the 2021 Rookie of the Year. So already a very big resume for such a youngster. He's going huge up high, and that is threatening that left-hand OB. Tree kind of catches him, though, and keeps him in play. He will be first to act and still has a decent amount of ground to cover, but should have the forehand distance to get up and down.
Heads up! Heads up!
Oh, yeah. It gets a nice little curl to the backside of the hill. That's the other tricky part about this hole is the pin is elevated and does rest on a bit of a mound that can obviously give you some nasty rolls. Forehand here for Hammes on hole 1, and that looks good. Oh, yeah. That is the stress-free birdie you are looking for on hole 1. As you can see, a much clearer skies today. It was very rainy yesterday, but things were a lot more ideal, but a little bit windier. As being that close to the left OB actually gives Joel a huge open look at the pin. And his forehand will get up there nicely, so a lot of birdie looks here. Cole, though, trying to just to get up and down the save par after going OB off the tee. And that'll do. Making the best of the situation with that one. I'm just got to capitalize on the putting green. A little bit of an uphill putt here for Gannon to kick things off. And on an elevated pin, and with the potential to roll right back at him, it makes this first putt a little scary. But no problem. Ice in his veins. Gets the birdie here to kick things off. We get to Joel Freeman, who I guess has a bit of a death putt, you could say, due to the back slope on the back of this pin, but very near it. Yeah, that'll be dead center. Cole here looking to save par. Of course, Hammes parked right there next to the basket for birdie, so he'll tap that in momentarily, but we'll see if Cole here can clean up the par. Indeed he will. Not allowing this one to cause any real damage to the scorecard. As Hammes will tap it in there. So we get the hole to a 390-foot par 3, a pretty tight gap right off the tee, playing downhill, a bit of a dog leg right. So in that regard, you'll probably see some big forehands for the players who have it or some type of backhand turnover. But with it playing downhill, play slightly less than that 390. Just need to hit your gap off the tee. There is some OB left as well that you need to make sure you stay away from.
Come on, Win. Stop. Get it. Stop.
And that is that OB left I was referring to. Needed that to really come out a little bit harder at the end and just kind of kept holding a little bit straighter than you wanted at the end. That does get around. Oh! Parks the bottom of the koozie. Just an accurate strike down the fairway from Hammes, who's certainly known for that forehand power. Has that little hitch right there at the beginning of his forehand form that's kind of unique to him, but other than that, just super textbook. Very clean. Lots of power and precision as we get up to Gannon Buhr. And again, the forehand really is the play if you've got it. That's on a great line as long as it keeps fading out. Oh, yeah. Does one even better than Hammes. Both of them parked, though. See how Cole can do here. A little lower line, but still looks good. Just needs to get out. Flirts with that OB, but will get over there right near the circle's edge. A little bit of a lengthy putt, though. As this is Freeman trying to save par, but a lengthy putt to do it. Right there outside of circle 2. Nice putt from Joel to not take any damage, hitting a pretty lengthy putt there. And Cole hitting a big one as well for birdie on his. Probably about 38 to 40 feet on that one, similar to what Joel had. And now just some tap-ins here for birdie from Adam Hammis and Gannon Buhr, who just stuck the landing right off the tee. Great start here for our chase card as we head over to hole number 3. Amando takes away the big hyzer to the wide right off the tee. The backhand flex line up the right side of the fairways, typically the backhander's choice to really be able to stick this 370-foot par 3, and that's the advice straight from the course designer himself, Dustin Keegan. So he feels that is really the best way to attack, and that's really what we did see yesterday. Just trying to force something overstable up the right-hand side and have it fade out. And well, that looks like what Adam's doing here. Kind of a little bit earlier than he wanted, though. There is certainly some OB out left, and there is a Mando, again, as we mentioned, so you do have to play through the tunnel. And Gannon squares that one tree you really have to miss. And Coles is just a little high, catching one of those early overhanging branches. He will have to settle for par on this one, but it might be a tricky up and down from over there, to be honest with you. So far, our card having some struggles clearing this one, though Adam did make it at least up to pin high. See if Joel can get it done. Taking the wide right gap. Is that going to get the ground action it needs?
Oh, that's a nice skip.
Indeed, it does get a couple of nice little hops there, but just outside the circle. Yeah, and Cole's got a lane to get up and down for par. So no problems there. Little bit trickier. Gannon will just get to a knee to get a better shot underneath this low ceiling, but otherwise pretty routine. That'll do. Now here's Adam for birdie. Very close. Nice bid, but we'll have to settle for par on this one as well. What kind of shenanigans is Joel getting to over here? Oh! Almost stuck that one. Just a little high left, looked like. So it seems like it will be the par frame for our chase card here on hole number 3. That's about parred by 70% of the field, 28% of the field finding the birdie. So they play about a quarter of a stroke under par, kind of in the middle of the pack of difficulty for the course. Seeing our card kind of just clean things up here. So we had a big gallery out here for this event, as you can see in the background. So really cool to see some large crowds supporting some disc golf out there on the West Coast. And we'll be back after a short break.
My name's Garrett Gerthy. People may know me as Double G, and I've been making Double G craft jerky since I was 16 years old.
When I have Double G's craft jerky and I pull it out of my bag during a round, the first thing anyone asks is that Double G's craft jerky? And I always bring the big bag because I know I'm gonna have to share it.
I'm a big fan of beef jerky, and I have to say that Double G beef jerky is absolutely my favorite I've ever found.
I'm always looking forward to digging my hand in my next bag of Double G craft jerky.
You can find Double G craft jerky at doublegjerky.com.
This Craft Great Lakes Open champion. Dynamic Disc Open champion. Glendoveer Open champion. Piston Tatar.
I've been dreaming about coming here and competing here, and now I'm finally here, so it's a dream come true.
Now we get the hole 4 at 450-foot par 3. You can go straight at it right up the middle, or you can go for the big left to right moving shot out wide left. I've also seen some rollers on this hole. There is an OB green and some hazard on the right-hand side that you do have to contend with, as well as some OB on this left-hand side, which will come more into play if you play that wider out left shot. Hamas is certainly one of those players that does have the distance with the forehand to get to the pin.
That is a great forehand.
Thank you.
As he will skip and roll right there near the circle's edge. See what Gannon's eyeing up here. Could be going roller or just big turnover. Actually decides to attack that center gap. And that is a beautiful shot. Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. You love to see that. Just a beautiful shot right up the center. As we take a little bit of a slow-mo look here at Gannon. I know a guy who kind of learned a lot from watching Will Shoestrick and does a lot of tutorial content on his own YouTube channel, kind of talking about form and distance, and very much a student of the game and obviously excelling at it at a very early age. So we now get up to Cole, I guess fellow 17-year-old on the card to Gannon. He will play the big roller.
Oh, come on. Hit that tree.
He's had to be George of the Jungle and hit that tree, but unfortunately it does not. But does stay away from that OB green at the very least. Looks like Joel kind of just didn't get all the way over on that one. That is in some danger. I don't. Okay. Well, that actually fared better than I thought. I kind of lost it, and he looked like he was a little bit concerned, but winds up working out. Though getting birdie certainly seems like a reach. We'll see if he can try to come up with something, though. Well outside circle 2 for this. Not a bad bid there from Joel. We'll rest up there for par. So now get to Adam Hamas. Has to go to a knee here, trying to maybe hyzer or put around the tree. Just a little low, but certainly on line. Now we get up to Cole. About pin high, but certainly well outside the circle here. Oh, man. A little bit more height, and you feel like that one sticks. So some pars being cleaned up here, but Gannon, of course, will be landing the birdie after a beautiful tee shot. Now we get the hole 5, which has been a tricky one. A 910-foot par 4. It is a big downhill tee shot, and there's plenty of OB bunkers and hazards that you have to worry about And luck, hopefully you'll be coming just short of. And then the approach, as you can see, also very tricky with this OB pond sitting right in front of the green, as well as an OB golf green just before that. And the OB deep of the basket comes in really close on the edge of circle 1. So the tee shot, usually if you can just get something pretty center cut and short of the OB bunkers, you're good to go. And it's really just a tricky approach you have to land. As Gannon's going big off the tee. Drifting towards that left-hand side of the fairway, and that's totally fine. There's no OB left to worry about. The only OB really is, again, the pond. It's one of the golf greens, and there's an OB right, way right in the tree line. So, yeah, if your miss is left, that's ideal. But center, obviously, what you're looking for. Another shot out there to the left. I think that's really just kind of a way to make sure you don't really flirt with any of these hazards or that OB green. As again, Cole just has so much distance. That thing is boomed down there.
Stay turned. Stay turned.
Oh my goodness.
There we go.
Folks, that is absolutely blasted down the fairway. I can't even begin to tell you how far that was. As again, he was doing this all day, our first day out at Glendoveer. Just so much power. And he gets it all into that throw. No momentum wasted at the end there when he swings that back leg around. Now we get to Joel Freeman. A big shot to follow, but certainly a guy who has plenty of distance in his own right. Just playing out to that left-hand side. And again, nothing wrong with that. It really keeps you safe and just lets you focus on that, again, tricky approach shot that's up next. Really kind of want to stick it short of the pin somewhere on that little mound to really give you the ideal lie. Hammis punches one down there. Skips off the top of that hill and actually stays in bounds. That's really all I was saying. Staying short and on the mound is ideal because it helps you not have to worry about skipping off the top of the hill into that OB line you saw. But luckily for Adam, he will stay in and get a meter. Gannon kind of just going straight at the pin. Clears the pond, though, and is essentially parked. A wonderful approach there from Gannon Buhr. Freeman maybe looking just to kind of flex one in and try to slide it up. Like a little bit of a skip left of the pin. Maybe just trying to use that to control distance a bit, as we do see that fading out over the top of the pond. Stays clean, but that is a very lengthy putt and a dangerous one at that. And look at Cole. He's by the cart path just before the pond. Look how short this upshot is. I would love to know how far that was. It's got to be near 700 feet. Granted, it's a downhill shot, don't get me wrong, but that is just, yeah, that's incredible. And what a putt from Joel. Thought he was maybe out of range to really threaten the basket, but he had different plans. I'll put him 2 under for the round, and he's now tied in 4th position. As, yeah, here's Hammis after taking that meter off the OB line. A little bit of a downhill putt, though. Risk of rollaway to an OB pond if this flies too high. And just kind of hits the koozie. It did lie right down afterwards, though, so we'll be able to get his par. Here's Cole for birdie. No problem for him. That'll put him 2 down as well in the round thus far. Of course, Gannon right here for birdie in his own right. 4 under through 5 here for the final round as Hamas will go tap in a par.
Get your M2s.
All right, thank you. Thanks for the info there. If you guys were curious, as we get to hole 6 of 430-foot par 3, downhill, low ceiling, pretty wide gap. There is a double mando that does force you to play up the center, takes away any type of big hyzer forehand or big hyzer backhand, really forces you to play kind of more up the center through the gap. And again, just have to really worry about challenging that low ceiling as you're coming downhill. Hits the gap fine. Now just needs to fade. And it just does not really get the ground action he was hoping for. Otherwise, on a great line. Oh, Cole does get past the Mando. He thought he had yanked it over, maybe a bit too much, but it's fine. But once again, still a little more turnover than he wanted. Doesn't really get the ground action back towards the circle. So a lengthy putt ahead. But avoids catastrophe at least, as we now get to Joel Freeman. Oh, that looks money if it fights out.
Just took its time.
Yeah, and everyone's just kind of struggling to get that in-flight fade that they were looking for. Not sure if it's the wind or it's not quite getting the right angle. Either way, everyone's made the Mando and stayed in play. Not really any OB to worry about other than missing the Mandos. That has potential as well. Looks like that is getting a little bit more fade at the end of the flight. Again, that low ceiling does make it hard to push as forward as you're looking for, as well as get the right angle to get in back towards the green. So everyone has a long putt ahead. After hitting a long one, can Joel do it again? Gives it a stepper. Hits the koozie and lays down for an easy par, but just didn't really have a chance. Oh, the stepper for Gannon, just a little low. Another par. See what Hamas can do. Obviously very well known for his putting prowess, and this is certainly in the range he's dangerous from. A little bit wide right. Looked like maybe that tree was obstructing him. He was trying to get around it and just pushed it a little too outside. But still should be able to get par.
Good ups, guys. Y'all laid up. Heck yeah.
Oh, man. He's hoping to get that one up, as he said, to try to give it a chance, but a little low, and he'll just tap it in as everyone will just kind of start clearing out here, taking their pars. As this did play right at even par. Only 9% of the field finding the birdie, 83% parring it. It was third in difficulty on the day. You can see why. Just kind of tricky just to get the angle just right out in the disc. As this coverage is brought to you by Fortnite. Fortnite's newest season starts this week, so follow the pinned comment below to check it out. So let's get back into it here. We got hole 7, a 680-foot par 4, very uphill. That's the big challenge, just getting the distance to get up to the top of this hill and start looking to approach what is a very well-guarded green. There is also a double Mando in play. You have a Mando right right off the tee, and then a Mando left a little bit further down, just kind of keeping you center off the golf fairway to the wide right. Other than that, no OB to worry about. Again, it's all about hitting this gap and then trying to get up that hill as much as you can. The further up you get, the better your footing will be. Otherwise, it can be a little bit tricky to get the right footing to power down to the green. But certainly this card has plenty of power on its players. Oh, and that's just low out the hand. Cole's certainly one of the guys you would think could maybe really crest the hill, but just lets go a little low. Ooh, that looked like it might be a little inside, but does make it through the gap and skates on up there. Ooh, Hamas looking big roller, huh? All right, then. So one way to do it. Let's see how it plays out.
Oh, yeah.
Well, seems pretty good.
Good shot. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's going to give him some pretty ideal footing, I would say. So I think he's going to be happy with that. Now, Cole has a lot of work to do here, being low off the tee. As uphill as he still has to climb. You can see how tricky that footing really gets to try to drive this thing forward. And couldn't really do much there. Just trying to get where he can to try to get up and down for par. Gannon putting a good move on that. And, well, gets hung up on a tree, but inside the circle. And as tall as he is, he should be able to maybe stretch out and shadow putt that thing for birdie. We'll see. Let's get up to Hamas after the huge roller. Looks like he gets right up near that same tree, but rolls out for an open look at the basket. Now we get to Freeman, who was furthest off the tee. And looks like he's got some good footing as well then. Blast one up the right-hand side, and that is a beautiful approach from Joel. A stress-free birdie to get things going here towards the end of the front nine as we get up to Cole looking to approach for par. What am I talking about? This guy gave that a really good run. Little jump hyzer putt. Almost makes it all the way there. As you might as well give it a go. Can't leave anything out on the course, with this being the final stretch of holes to play. Of course, he's fighting for position right now, already tied for 5th. Let's get up to Hamas, who is in solo 8th, but now that'll tie him up for 7th. Here's Gannon. Indeed, he will be able to straddle out. Give himself a look here for birdie. That'll move him into a tie for 5th. 5 under through 7. So a hot start here for Gannon. So we now get up to Cole Redalen looking for par. That's tough. Not what you expect to see. I know putting has been a struggle for him this year, even switching away from EV7 back to his old Lunas, but still just kind of, working out that consistency. Certainly saw him hit some big putts on day 3, so that's plenty of time to make it up later, as we are going to see a drop-in birdie from Joel after a well-played hole. Now we get to hole 8. Got a Mando left right off the tee on this 1,615-foot par 4. Very downhill. There's gas available for both the forehand and the backhand. And we know that this hole is reachable for eagle, particularly with the roller. Kevin Jones did eagle it yesterday, or day 3, whenever it is you watch it. Might not be yesterday. And we saw Paul, I feel like, get really close as well on day 3. Had a long putt at it. But the big forehand that you saw Gannon take is kind of the safest route to take and is like the guaranteed birdie almost. Joel as well taking the big forehand. As the big forehand also really takes OB out of play. The real OB on this hole is just all on the right-hand side of the fairway, which is what the Mando left kind of keeps you away from anyway, but playing out to the left-hand side of the fairway keeps you extra safe and out in the open. And that is blasted from Hammes. And it looks like Cole might very well be looking to attack this hole for eagle with a roller, just how he's lined up. And again, it is reachable if you get the right roller.
Get over there.
Actually, that was more of a turnover play, I guess. Kind of has a bit of a cut roll at the end, though, but still going to stay well outside circle 2. But makes that approach for birdie a heck of a lot easier. It's a great upshot there from Hammes. Will set him up for birdie. This did play as the easiest hole of the day. 0.76 strokes under par with 78% of the field finding birdie or better.
Oh, that's so bad.
As we see a nice up there as well from Gannon. Sets him up to be a part of that 78%. Freeman, just a simple forehand chip for himself as well, and puts it right next to the bottom of the basket. And just kind of a jump putt approach here for Cole Redalen after a big shot off the tee. Low ceiling's going to make it kind of hard to actually really run this, but he's trying to do what he can. Gets it up there, so looks like it should be all the birdies all the time on hole 8. Because again, if you hadn't watched Moving Day, this is a brand new layout at Glendoveer. You probably started to notice that compared to the last time Glendoveer was used for the Portland Open. Redesigned by Dustin Keegan throughout the year. Had a bit more time to work on this layout and really utilize some new property. And honestly, a lot of these holes made you feel like you really weren't even on a golf course. Lots of trees, these Douglas firs, kind of weaving in and out through those throughout the rounds. A couple of big open shots, sure, but definitely a lot of shots where you have to hit a gap off the tee or stay within some Mandos, and took away some cheater outs as we see Joel just drop in a birdie, nonchalant. Gonna wait for the crowd as well as we get to our last hole of the front 9. It is a 645-foot par 4 to wrap things up here on the front half of the course. Again, another double Mando pretty much right off the tee, forcing you to stay dead center. Just a very straight shot due to the two Mandos. So just have to really keep this center cut the whole way through. Burr be first to act here to wrap things up for our first portion of our final round. You can kind of see the straight shot right there, slightly downhill, bit of a low ceiling once you get through this first stretch. There is a couple of hazards and an OB golf green out to the far left, but usually not going to come into play off the tee and usually pretty easily avoided on the approach. Is Joel going to lay down a roller here?
Yeah.
That's just fine out in the open. I will say the green's also pretty well protected on this hole, so it does make the approach shot a bit more tricky. Something you got to think a little bit more about compared to the previous hole. Big forehand here from Hammes, really flexing that thing out to the left-hand side of the fairway and getting all the distance. Very well played there. Let's see what Cole wants to do. I mean, really whatever the heck he wants. Guy just has so much power. Does maybe overturn that one just a bit, but hey, it stays dead center cut, and he's still got plenty of power to approach this pin. So we'll see Joel the first to act to try to get into this tree grove and set up for birdie. Had a great round so far. See if he can keep it up. Kind of flex a forehand in there. And that will do just fine. Rolls right out to an open look at the pin. See, the wind is rustling a little bit here. A little bit windier than it was the previous day, though. Certainly in much drier conditions. And that's just low out the hand from Cole. Not really going to get much of a skip up there either. So likely having to settle for par yet again. Had a bit of a slower start.
Don't hit him. Don't hit him. No. Go.
Well, I mean, it just goes to show you, if you talk to your disc, sometimes it'll listen. Don't know that your words really have the impact, but sometimes it makes you feel good. So you are going to see Hammes line up the forehand in. And that should do. Oh, yeah. I concur that that will do indeed. Let's see if Cole can make some magic happen from range. Tell you what, pretty darn close to it. We'll be able to get the par, though, to wrap things up. So we get the Freeman for birdie. Just a little nose down and a little low. Not quite going to get there. Seemed like he kind of knew it right out of his hand. So a couple of pars being cleaned up by Cole and Freeman, while Buhr and Hammes will be able to finish things off with the birdie. Again, such a great crowd that showed up in full force for this final round. We really appreciate that. As if you were part of the crowd and you're catching the courage, maybe drop a comment below and let us know. Let us know how it was out there. Or, you know, if you weren't able to get to this event, have you been to one before? And let me know where you were and how you enjoyed it. So we'll see things come to a conclusion here on the front nine out at Glendoveer for our chase card. Joel Freeman tied for third position after shooting 4 under with a clean card. Otherwise, Gannon Buhr, though, with 7 down through 9, puts him in the top 5. There are others still very much in the mix. We take a look at the leaderboard. We got Garrett Gertie and Simon Lazat tied up, 31 strokes under par. Isaac and Joel Freeman hot on their heels, and Gannon also not too far behind. We thank you so much for tuning into this coverage, and we'd like to give our Patreon supporters who help make this coverage possible a special shout out. Again, please be sure to follow and subscribe so you can catch the final 9 out here at the Portland Open, as well as future events that Gatekeeper Media will be covering throughout the year for the Disc Golf Pro Tour and beyond. Again, I'm Dustin Mouret that brought you the commentary. If you enjoyed it, you want to give me a follow, you can at FollowDust on Twitter and Instagram, as well as you can check out some disc golf content I do over on my YouTube channel at Dustin Disc. Either way, appreciate you coming by, and we'll see you for the back 9 here soon. Thanks.